curious, what has changed this past 3 years?
Oh man, bro. Life has changed. Personal life has changed. I would say business has definitely changed from a different aspect, but not. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But life has changed. Business has changed. Life wise, obviously, I have a family now. We introduced Avery. She'll be 2 in August. Business wise, we added a real estate side. So that's what's changed with that. And so both are pretty good changes. And it's been challenging. So yeah.
You want to share some what has been difficult?
I would say like on the family side, man, just like work-life balance, honestly. Adding another sector of real estate just brings on an entire new beast as far as like logistics and business. So trying to manage that also with the wedding and event side, and then trying to give your time to a newborn is very difficult. And then also your wife on top of that. So
Of course.
just trying to work on time management is, I feel like, difficult in itself on top of everything else. So
Why did you? Obviously, I know, but why did you? Why did you start your real estate photo business?
I would say the main reason was just a change in environment, just a change as far as like clientele, just to mix it up a little bit. But also during the time where I started the real estate side, that was during COVID. So the main thing that I was trying to do is just pick up a little extra because we lost a lot of clients as far as the corporate side and stuff like that during COVID. But just to pick up, more income, more revenue. And then honestly, it just took off. Because initially I was really just only doing like the 3D tours. That way people could come in and just view the property without having to actually go to the property during COVID. So that's how that started. And
Do you want to go into more detail of how it took off, or what kind of where did you focus on, or how did you put in your effort into getting clients on that side?
So I would say it was in 2020 when I first started, and it was literally super part-time, not really putting a lot of effort in, reaching out to people as far as real estate agents on Instagram and stuff like that. Very, very part-time. Wasn't getting a lot of clients, just here and there. Same thing for 2021, but I started to get more referrals from other people that I had worked with the year prior. So I started to get more referrals, and then 2022, I was like, all right, I'm going all in. And so that's when I really just started reaching out to a lot of agents, and then just honestly just asking for the referral. Like, hey, like I'm looking to grow my real estate side, looking to take on more clients. If you know anyone, like I would love a referral. And that's literally how it happened. So from there, just started getting referral after referral. And then I tried running ads, but didn't have any success with that. After I started getting a lot more reviews on Google, you start getting more clients, like random clients from Google that are researching. And then the other aspect outside of real estate agents is the boom of Airbnb. So the boom of Airbnb, obviously, that increased revenue a lot more, just because you're charging a lot more for the Airbnb side compared to just your MLS listings. So getting those clients
is there a reason you did it that way?
What's that? Charging more?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple of reasons. So if you think about it like this, and a real estate agent is going to use those photos just for the sale of the home. So once the home sells, those photos are pretty much dead. If another agent wants to sell that house a week or two later, they'll most likely have to purchase a license to use those photos or go hire someone else to take new pictures. Yeah. With Airbnb, they use those photos of lifetime of the home. If they have that rental property for 5 to 10 years, they're consistently using those photos over 5 to 10 years. So you technically charge more on a licensing side, just to get more of that revenue. But honestly, the value that photos bring for Airbnb are just
massive.
Yeah,
it's everything.
Insane.
Yeah.
So honestly,
it's like half, right? I would say at least like I feel like if I'm choosing an Airbnb property, I'm looking at photos and then maybe
that's
reviews.
The main
but
thing.
that's the
Yeah.
main thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing. When you're swiping and looking for Airbnb properties, like photos are the only thing you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like the only reason you stop on an Airbnb property is because of the photos. Yeah. So the value of photography in Airbnb is just massive. So you can charge a lot more. I'm probably not charging enough, honestly. I hear that all the time. I'm comfortable with what I'm charging. So I could probably raise my prices, but I'm comfortable where I'm at. Eventually I probably will, but I think we're doing pretty good. So
skill wise, from like doing transitioning from the wedding side, I mean, you still do, even I say transitioning, skill wise, you know, it's kind of a little bit different. Or how did were you good from the beginning, or like did you?
No, bro.
What was the process like to getting into like really? Because I see your photos and they're super good. Like whoever looks at the photos, they can tell that, you know, it's professional, top notch stuff. But what was that like? Where did you get that? Did you learn from mistakes, anything?
Dude, I was trash. I was terrible. So like how it happened was I reached out to a friend that had their parents had an Airbnb, and I was like, hey, let me shoot your Airbnb and like you can use the pictures, and not knowing that I was terrible. So I go in, I take the pictures, man, and I'm like, oh, these are good. And they're like, oh yeah, they're good. And then I was like, nah, these can't be that good. And then I joined a couple of different Facebook groups as far as like real estate photography. And once I got in there, I was like, oh my gosh, like I am terrible at this. And so just a lack of knowledge on how to take pictures, settings was a huge thing. Like I literally probably just put it on manual and threw up a flash, and shadows were everywhere. It wasn't good at all. So it was a small learning curve. It wasn't like a huge learning curve. But once you learn, dude, it's like very simple, all your angles. And then when it comes to Airbnb and more commercial work, you're getting more detailed shots. So more crop shots and stuff like that. So that also adds to the price of Airbnb and more commercial work.
Taking more photos?
Way more photos. Yep. So, but yeah, so that's how I learned, is just honestly jumping into a group, and they were like, hey, you need to do this, this, and that. Just a lot of research, honestly. YouTube. YouTube was kind of wild though, because they were like very, very high end.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, nah, that's a little
like
bit too
hotels,
much.
resorts kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of lighting, a lot of lights, and I was like, nah, that's not my vibe. So pretty much, I do all HDR, so no flash, all ambient lighting. So
you, and I feel like I saw you do it. Is you pretty much have two, even within photography or videography, you have two different industries, very specific categories. It's not like you kind of do everything. You kind of have two specific businesses. They serve specific targets, the wedding side and the real estate side. Like, was it easier to do the real estate side since you already learned the basics of business on the wedding side, or how has that difference been?
I feel like it was way easier. And to be honest, I'm still navigating on the wedding side and just nailing things down. On the real estate side, it's probably 10 times easier, just because it's more a business to business relationship and not like, I don't know the exact term, but like business to, a couple.
Yeah, customer, B2C. So do you mean you mean by that from someone that, let's say, has zero business experience yet jumping into it, you would say it's easier to do the real estate side than the wedding side?
100%.
Interesting.
100%.
Just because it's more transactional?
Yeah, it's more transactional. It's very basic and simple as far as a transaction. Like, hey, I'm going to take pictures for you and you're going to pay this amount. And the transactions are literally over less than 48 hours. From a wedding standpoint, like, you talk to someone, like let's say you talk to them in January and their wedding isn't until this November or even next November. Now you're talking and dealing with this client over the next 12 months, over the next 16 months. And like it's not difficult, but they can cancel anytime. And so like your predictable income can be there, but it can't be there at the same time. So
Interesting. You say how about like just, naturally, I'm not sure if using the word problem is correct, but naturally you run into problems or hiccups or whatever. You'd say on the wedding side it tends to be more, or is it about the same or
I feel like nowadays I don't run into any issues like on the wedding side. It's pretty straightforward, obviously, because we shoot at the same venues, most of the time. So clients pretty much know exactly what they're getting. The process is pretty much streamlined. With real estate, you do run into some issues, maybe with newer clients or also homeowners that don't really know the process of photography, and they may think that, what's the right way of putting this? They may think that, their home is supposed to show a certain way on photos than what it really does. And so that's honestly that's one of the main issues that I run into. I'm like, your home doesn't look.
So they have just like unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Sometimes I guess they have like personal attachments to the home too. And I see.
But that's like 2%.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's not a lot. It's like random.
Okay.
And so, but when it happens, it's it bothers you so much. So
what was so you said you went like all into the real estate 2022, 2021, around that? 2022.
Yeah.
What was that kind of like green light you saw where you were like, okay, now I'm actually going to do the website and everything.
Yeah.
Like what was the green light you saw?
Conversations with other business owners, just networking and talking to other business owners in different states and seeing how they literally just grew their business over the last like 8 months. And they were literally in the same exact position that I was in, just filling it out, doing part-time. Then all of a sudden they flipped a switch and they're killing it. And so just talking to them, and I actually consider them my mentors as far as the real estate side. I literally pick up the phone and call them anytime I have like any questions or anything like that. And they've been super helpful as far as like my growth. But yeah, just talking to them and then really just understanding like I can really take this to another level. And I'm putting in like 25% of the effort. What if I did 100%? And I'm still not at that 100%, So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Like I said, it's just all work-life balance and, doing as much as you can while also making sure your entire sphere is
Let's
happy.
go into that direction then. How has things changed? Now you have Avery in your life. Now you have a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-olds, right?
She'll be 2 in August.
In August. Okay. Yeah. How has that? I mean, obviously, you have to, I'm talking off of imagination, but like prior to that, you can just spend majority of your time in business and focus on client experience and all this other stuff. But now, you don't, it's something so important in life that you don't want to neglect, or you don't want to look back and be like, like I was so focused on the business that I haven't spent any time with my kids.
Right.
So
exactly.
I understand, like, how did you navigate that, or how are you doing things now? What has changed? Like, if you want to.
Yeah, man, I would say now at a point in time, I don't know when that point in time was, but you start to realize like your time is so valuable. Like when you have a kid, it's already valuable enough before, but when you have a kid, it's like super valuable. So you start to not do a lot of things. A lot of the extra little things that you would do before, just because it's like, well, that's going to take time away from, me being at home for my kid and stuff like that. Like, and it's not even doing the bare minimum. It's more, you're just not going to do these extra things that are unnecessary, technically, to still get the job done. But then also having boundaries. Boundaries are huge. So I would say, like, even right now, like I had a bad habit of coming home like right after like real estate shoots and stuff like that, and just automatically going into the office, editing, uploading and stuff like that, while, Antoinette and Avery were out cooking dinner or eating dinner and stuff like that. And I don't know what it was that hit me, and I was like, I gotta stop that. Like when I get home or when they get home, like everything shuts down. Like everything shuts down. And then when she goes to sleep, which is around 8:00, if I have more work to do, then that's when I'm doing it. Like if I need to stay up till 12 a.m., that's what I'm gonna do. So just so I have that quality time with her and then Antoinette during that small period of time, like after they get home. So
How has your relationship changed with Antoinette?
since Avery,
Yeah.
ooh, that's a good one. I would say you appreciate each other more. I would also say that you start to see more of each other's, I guess, flaws. And I had a good friend tell me this. He was like, dude, when you have a kid, all your insecurities come out. And I was like, okay. So I kid you not, ever since he told me that, like, I think so much like about just our relationship and stuff like that. But it's helped as far as our communication. That's the biggest thing that Avery has helped with, because our communication is like insanely like clear and amazing. We communicate so much better than we did before Avery. Like, it's kind of weird, but that's the positive that's come out of it. And then just the love and emotional piece like has also increased as far as like visually and just being in the moment and enjoying the moment. Because before I wasn't really like a emotional guy or really didn't really show like, you know, love a certain way. But now like you have a little girl and like you think about like, what do you want her to see like in a man, you know, as you get, you know, as she gets older. So with that, it's like, all right.
Do you feel like you have to hold yourself to a higher standard now?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Like, and it's not even that. It's just showing like your daughter and your family that honestly the man that you actually are. You might not really show that all the time, but like you just need to show it, right? So just being there, showing that emotional side, showing that love, like, you know, Avery loves the cuddle. Like, it's weird. Like, she loves the cuddle on the couch and just like yesterday she was yelling at us like, no, you sit down here, you sit down here. I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down. Put my phone away, sit down, and we literally just chill on the couch, cuddle on the couch with her, because that's what she wants. Like, and kids are wild in what they know that they want. They know exactly what they want. So as long as you just listen, you're in the moment, like, you can provide for them and everything that they need from an emotional and mental standpoint. So
I'm looking forward to the next 10 years because like Avery's 2. Avery's about not even 2 yet.
Yeah,
so
dude.
This is going to be interesting.
She's wild. Yeah. She's very intelligent. She's very smart.
Do you already start to see certain characteristics?
Oh, yes.
Is she more like you or more like
both?
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Because me and Antoinette both have strong personalities, I feel like. And she has like a very strong personality. So she knows exactly what she wants. And if she doesn't get it, this is most toddlers though. I feel like if they don't get what they want, like they're just gonna throw a fit. Yeah. But she knows exactly what she wants. Before she was able to talk, she was able to communicate. So that was very interesting too. So yeah.
Any you know, out of your 2 years of experience of being a dad, any advice to other dads that maybe someone might watch this and they're like, I just have a newborn. Or what advice would you give them?
Dude, I think it's crazy that you're asking me this question right now. We'll talk later about some stuff. But just live in the moment is probably the main thing I would give to dads. Just be present, live in the moment, be a helping hand whenever you're needed. So that's the main advice I would give.
Because I've seen you go sleepless nights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally just text you last Monday. I was like,
but like, especially like when Avery was just born, I remember like,
oh yeah,
like we would drive to a wedding and I see you just like operating under like 40 minutes of sleep, you know?
Dude, that was a wild time. That honestly, like that entire, dude, you have no idea. When Avery was born, that was probably the most stressful time in my entire life. Those first 6 months. And the crazy thing is, it had nothing to do with Avery. It was everything around that was like just stressing you out. Like life is just like, you're in a boxing match with like life, right? And like at the end of the day, you're trying to take care of your kid, and everything else is like really just pulling you away and trying to like push you down and trying to overcome all that. Like that first 6 months, dude, it was hard, dude. So, but looking back and like where we're at now, I feel good. Like I feel great, man. But you know, it's just the mental toughness and going through that and just being able to get through that. And that's a part of why me and Antoinette's relationship is a lot better today.
So I guess business wise, what's next?
Dude, I would say next is honestly, I want to say scaling. But in order to scale, I have to get the foundation correct first. There's a lot of things that I need to put in place in order to go to that next level. And I don't think I'm there yet. So I think once the foundation is laid, it's just more systems and automation, getting people in the right place, and stop trying to do everything as a solo entrepreneur. So just getting out of that and really getting into different kind of habits as far as like a managing in order to scale. So
is there any like routines or anything you have in life to kind of keep you grounded, or something that you have go to, you know, de-stress, or something that helps you? Anything that comes to mind? Man,
I wish I had a good habit of continuing to do certain things. I think it's more random, dude. Like I will randomly wake up and just start working out. I'll randomly like walk Princeton.
So you're like more spontaneous about how you feel.
Super spontaneous. But I know from a mental standpoint, I need to do something, right? And so I'll wake up at 5:30 and go walk Princeton. We'll go on a walk in the morning.
Nice.
Or I'll wake up in the morning and work out. Now it's, all right, stop everything, take Avery in the backyard and go play with her in the jumper, you know? So just getting away from the everyday hustle and doing something that you enjoy, doing something that you relax, golfing. Obviously, I love to golf.
Yeah, I see you sometimes golfing.
So I love the golf, but then sometimes that can be a little stressful because if you suck at golf, it's like...
you're getting frustrated.
Yeah, so now you're all pissed off on the golf course because you just hacked the ball, you know? So, but it's still fun. It's still a stress reliever, and, you know, you have to find those outlets in order to, you know, let your stress go, but then be able to function like for your business. So
I'm going to ask a question. I feel like I can ask this.
Yeah.
Because like we have that relationship going, you know? So you spent a lot of time studying your physical therapy degree, and you can practice fully now.
Right.
But you really haven't taken that course in life.
Yeah.
Do you ever, you know, I don't want to use the word regret, but how do you feel about that? You spent a lot of time in that, but like, do you still want to maybe in the future practice, or how do you look at that right now?
Dude, that's a great question. I think earlier on I battled with that, like, kid you not, every day, every week, I would battle with that. And then even like sometimes now, you know, entrepreneurship is hard, man. And so like I'll have days where I'm like, I'm tired of it. Like I'm about to just stop everything and I'm just gonna go get a corporate job and work in physical therapy. But then literally I just talked to one of my classmates, kid you not, yesterday. And this is what keeps me not going and doing physical therapy is, dude, he literally said he hates it. He's working 4 different jobs in order to make, you know, the income that he wants to make. And then one of the biggest things he said, he's like, man, I want to leave the field, but I have no other skills. So he's stuck. He can't do anything. So I think that's what kind of brings me back every single time. It's like, you know, you're doing very well as far as an income and business standpoint. I feel like I'm still learning skills every day. But like, I don't think I ever regretted it. It was tough at the beginning because, you know, I had that conversation with Antoinette and she was like, yeah, go for it. Like, this is what you want to do, go for it. So I had her full support. But then there's always that like inner, you know, voice telling you like, dude, you should have just go get a job and stop being an entrepreneur. But then as years go by, you're like, I'm glad I went this route. And then everyone else that you talk to, they're like trying to find something else to do.
Was it that like you really liked photography that like helped you push into this direction, or what? Because let me try to explain more. Is because like I think there's people out there that does get that degree, especially in your case, you went more than 4 years to get that where you are, and then I think there's tremendous pressure to use that degree
For sure.
and to see you able to, after completing your education and being able to grow this business is, I think, a unique scenario. And I think a lot of people can easily get stuck into this framework of like, I've finished my education, I have to be in this field.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to get more of like the insight, because it's something that I think it takes a little bit of courage, I think.
It does.
But I just wanted to hear more how you navigated that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, man. It's like you said, it's a very unique situation. I literally had a conversation with my dad 2 days ago, and he was like, we should really stop worrying about what everyone else thinks. And then I reminded him, I was like, did you forget who you're talking to? Just because like that was a big worry of mine at the beginning. Like, what is everyone else gonna think? But then at the end of the day, like, this is your life. You're going to live your life the way you want it, the way you see it. And then at that point in time, like, I wanted to do certain things. Like, I wanted to move a certain type of way. I didn't want to be stuck at a job or dealing with not being able to ask off of work, which Antoinette deals with a lot. When we had Avery, this was something that she ran into consistently. And so being able to, now that you have a family, being able to navigate and make your own schedule, not really do as you please, but having some type of control as far as your time, right? And so I think that's the main thing that's helped me navigate that. Like I get to drop Avery off at school every single morning. Like that's how I start my day. And I don't open my schedule up until 9 o'clock, which is after I drop her off. So that alone
Makes it worth it.
Huge.
Yeah.
Right. And so for a time in there, I would drop Avery off and I would pick Avery up, just because Antoinette, her schedule was, she would go to work before Avery went to school, and she would get off of work after Avery got out of school. So like I was that main person that picked her up and dropped her off every single day. And like I said, like that alone is like 100% worth it. So
I don't know. I think sometimes the best conversation comes up when just
bro.
Like, hey, that's what we always do. We just sit by the parking lot. We just talk. So.
Bro, so what I was gonna tell you, I've been wanting to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, dang, do I want to do a podcast on weddings? No, I don't want to do a podcast on weddings. Yeah. Do I want to do a podcast about real estate photography? No, I don't. And I'm like, what is it that I can talk about? Like
forever?
Yeah.
Or just casually? Well,
just forever. Yeah. Like this will be forever a conversation with anyone, right? Not anyone, but dads. So dads that are entrepreneurs or just in the workforce and time management with their family and with their kids, and like how they're navigating through that. So just having that conversation and getting like tips from other dads that are that main person in the household. Like, a lot of people, their wives don't work. So it's like, how do you take time to work all day, but then also provide and like give that time to your family? So I think
I think you have to start one now. Now that you said it publicly, I think we have to.
I know, man.
Yeah. I mean, because you might have a different setup, but you can definitely do it. You have the equipment. Like it's not like it's a whole lot of investment too.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
but maybe, I don't know. You'll figure it out. But I think that would be fun,
dude.
Yeah.
What
would you name your podcast?
I don't know, man. You're the first person I've told it to. But I don't know. Like I would even like interview my dad.
Oh.
Just like get really deep.
That is great. So See, we're like more than 30 minutes in. Thank you for watching if you're still watching. I
didn't even know we were still
there's
recording.
gonna be like 2 people that reach it this far. But I was thinking to because my dad, since you mentioned your dad, my dad wrote a children's book.
Really?
Yeah. With like full color graphics and everything. You don't hear, I don't like, no one around me has ever wrote a children's book. So
Right.
I'm very much, look, he finished everything and I think he's going to release it in the next 2-3 months. But once it's done, I'll get you a book and then we can do like a video of you reading it to Avery or something. I feel like that would be epic.
That'll be sick. Yeah.
But now once everything that is settled, I want to have my dad on the podcast because I feel like that would be it would be a fire episode of being like
that'll be
interviewing
good.
my dad. That'd be
What
so funny.
what made him write a book?
I know, right?
Like just that question alone.
Yeah.
is-
So yeah, and like I'm sort of in it, I think. Well, I am. So
You're the kid.
Yeah. So I think the I guess the main storyline is that the kid is nervous going to his first day of school. Yeah. So that's kind of how the story starts of like.
Nice.
Yeah, and him going to school, and I think noticing that maybe, he's not alone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe I got to interview your dad now.
You should.
Oh.
once you get a podcast going,
Yeah,
after like
man.
5-10 episodes in, I think that would be. I think my dad would be hyped. I'm telling him to like, we got to figure out how to market the book. Put it out there a little bit more, because I think children's book like. Nobody buys children's books these days. I think
they do.
They do. You sure about that? Yeah.
Positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Like, especially like if it's like a certain like demographic, cater to them or something like
I
that,
see.
or like a specific story. So like depending on like what's the story behind it, dude, it can do well.
Okay.
Like-
okay. Once this is out, I'm definitely gonna have to
Yeah, man.
push it out a little bit. Yeah.
Especially because it's your dad and he's writing a book about a boy. You know,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
that alone, like all the dads out there that have boys,
I'm
they can
hoping
relate
that,
to
it gives more credibility to that my dad works in the school system.
That's true.
And his age range is kindergarten to like 3rd grade or 6th, something like that.
Nice,
So it's
yeah.
geared towards that kind
That
of
makes
age group.
sense.
So I'm very, very much excited about that. But
Nice, man.
I sometimes wonder if I do get like my slight entrepreneurial side from my dad. Because my dad not always, but he pretty much did work in kind of the 9-to-5 world.
Yeah.
But sometimes he does come up with these ideas that he does make it into the final product. And sometimes either that does work or doesn't work. I think he does have this creative mind. And I do wonder if I do get some of these things from my dad or not.
Nice.
But, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You might, man. I don't
Maybe.
know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Definitely not photos though. My dad's not good at taking photos. So
Yeah.
that's something else.
Dude, I got my photo skill. I wouldn't say my photo skills, but honestly, like my first introduction to pictures was from my uncle. Like with my great uncle, he showed up to every event and took pictures.
When you were a kid, or
When I was a kid, like every like event that we have, whether it was a funeral or graduation, he was there with a professional camera.
wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to your uncle then. If it
yeah.
wasn't for your uncle, we probably would have not met.
Probably not. Like my uncle and then my sister, because my sister gave me my first professional camera in college. And that's literally how
It started.
it all happened.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like no looking back from there. So
Bruce, is there anything you want to share? Anything you want to touch? Something. What are you passionate about? I asked this question to the last episode with Dustin too, but what are you passionate about right now?
honestly, like I think I'm passionate. Avery, obviously.
Yeah.
That's pretty much like my main passion is being able to set up a future for her. That's probably my biggest passion, honestly. And that's one of my biggest reasons on like why I'm going so hard as far as like the entrepreneur ship, as far as running 2 businesses, and honestly probably about to start another one. So but just
We have
like
to.
yeah, just being able to provide for her and my family and just setting her up for success in the future, just from, the things that I've seen growing up as far as like setting people up and kids for the future, just taking all that and adding on to it, right? So just trying to do my best as a dad. So
I love it, Bruce.
Yeah.
Well, it was great. It was a short one, but I think it was a really good episode.
Hey, we'll be back.
We'll do another one for sure.
Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Hey.
Always a pleasure.